everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do another book tag for you guys, and the book tag that I'll be doing today is the Bookish Academy Awards book tag. Since the Oscars are happening this Sunday, I thought why not, this would be a perfect tag to do this week. And this tag was originally created by Kayla over at Bookadoodles, and I have been seeing people around on BookTube since I discovered it months ago, and I thought this would be a really cool tag to do this week, especially on the week of the Oscars. So there are 15 questions pertaining and that are pretty much Oscar award categorized questions. So let's get started. The first category is Best Actress, and for this I have to pick my favorite female protagonist, and that was not hard to pick because I always rave about her in the series and the author in general, and that is Rose Hathaway from Vampire Academy. Rose is just such a badass, strong, confident character. She is I've never read any other character like her. I mean, she's my top favorite female character, and she's just amazing. I absolutely love Rose. She's just such a strong-willed character, and she just cares and stops at nothing to protect her friends. Throughout the entire Vampire Academy series, she just goes through so much, and the character development that happens throughout the series just shows, and I love Rose. I love Rose as a character, and she's just my all-time favorite female character ever. The next category is Best Actor, and that is pick your favorite male protagonist, and I actually went with Christopher John Francis Booth from The Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime. I really loved this book. I just really loved how unique this character was compared to other male characters that I've read. I haven't really read that much books with male protagonists that much, only in Harry Potter, and that's about it. And then when I saw this book, I just knew Christopher would have been an easy answer for this category, because he was just such a different character that I've seen in other books. I mean, because he's basically in the this is basically in a perspective of an autistic person, and and that's Christopher, and just basically seeing in the mind of an autistic person. So I thought that was really unique of how Mark Handon created this character. The next category is Best Cinematography, and for this one I have to pick my favorite plot. I am going back to the series that I was talking about 2 seconds ago, and that was the Vampire Academy series, or in this case specifically Shadow Kiss, which is the 3rd book in the series. The things that happen in Shadow Kiss, the biggest plot twist in this book, not only affects the change in this book, like the ending to this book, but it affects the entire series. It affects the rest of the series of what happens in this book. If you know what I'm talking about, please comment down below, or if you haven't, just ask me later or read the book, because the things that happen in this book to Rose and to Dimitri is, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. I pretty much bawled my eyes out when I read this book and the plot twist that happened in this book. So, yeah, if you have not touched the Vampire Academy series, please do, and see why I picked this as the best plot twist for this category. So the next category is Best Costume, and for this I need to pick my favorite book cover. I haven't read this book, but this was an instant cover buy for me, and I cannot wait to read this book because it just has an amazing plot, and the cover to this is insanely beautiful, and I picked The Tiger's Curse by Colleen Hoyk. Oh man, I saw this on Book Outlet when I was shopping for one of their big sales that they were having, and I saw this book and I'm like, oh my gosh, you need to be mine. I didn't even check the synopsis to the book. I didn't even know who Colleen Hoyk was. I didn't know I never heard of The Tiger's Curse before, but just seeing this cover alone, it's beautiful, and I had to have this book strictly for cover buy reason, and it was and I also hear incredible things about this book and the series, and this is the first book in the Tiger Saga series, and I can't wait to start this book. But this is obviously a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. I think this is insanely beautiful, and this is definitely why I picked this book, because it was an instant cover buy for me. Next category in this tag is Best Supporting Actor, and for this I have to pick my favorite male side character, and this was a really easy choice for me, and that is Finnick Odair from the Hunger Games series. He was my favorite character in the series. I really loved Finnick Odair. I thought he was a very, very funny character. Even though all the things that was happening to him, he just somehow brought some funny and wit to the series, and I loved that. I was originally going to pick the Weasley twins, but then after reading the Mockingjay, after reading the Hunger Games series, I just knew that I had to pick Finnick Odair, because he's just my top favorite side character, and I love Sam Claflin, how he plays Finnick in Catching Fire. I think they couldn't have picked a better actor to play Finnick, so yeah. And the next category is Best Supporting Actress, and for this I have to pick my favorite female side character, and for this one was an obvious choice for me, and that was Alice Cullen from the Twilight series. Alice is just such an amazing side character too. I really loved her. She's always Alice is just always the character that you always want to be best friends with, or have like a best friend like Alice. I loved Alice throughout the entire series of Twilight. She was a really amazing character, and I loved how lighthearted she was throughout the entire series, and she was just such, yeah. The next category is Best Original Screenplay, and pick the most creative world or plot, and the book that I chose for this category is Cinder by Marissa Meyer, or otherwise known as the Lunar Chronicles. I was so amazed with this book. I've only read Cinder. I haven't read Scarlet or Cress yet, and I can't wait to get through those, because I just got them on my Kindle recently. And I'm so excited to just continue the series, because the world is incredible. It's just so fascinating, and unlike any other world that I've seen, which with such creativity as this book does. I thought Marissa Meyer did such an amazing job just building this world, and just introducing to such amazing characters, and the plot to this book is incredible too, just with the retelling of Cinderella, and with other retellings throughout the rest of the series too, and I just thought that this was an amazing, amazing world, and I just so blown away by this world of what Marissa Meyer created. So yeah. The next category is Best Adapted Screenplay, and for this I have to pick the best book to movie adaptation, and I am not picking Divergent, because I already did that with one tag. I already did that with the musical theater tag. Perks of Being a Wildflower by Stephen Chbosky. This movie was incredible for many reasons. It was so loyal to the book for obvious reason, because Stephen Chbosky, who's the author, also pretty much did everything for the movie. He written the screenplay for it, he directed the movie, I'm pretty sure he produced it also, and this was just such a good movie. I loved everything about the movie, from the writing, from the directing, obviously with it being the author, and the amazing, incredible cast. I absolutely just loved and adored both Logan, both Emma, and Ezra. I just loved how they played these three characters, the three main characters, and I just think it was an amazing, incredible movie. The next category is Best Animated Feature, which is pick the best book that would make a great animated film, and I chose Anya's Ghost by Vera Brosgold. While reading this graphic novel, I think this would be a really cute, short, animated film, just because of the graphics alone and just the story. I think just by the story and the graphics in this book would make a really cute animated movie, and if it was to become an animated film, I would definitely go see it, because it's just a really cool story. The next category is Best Visual Effects, and for this is Best Book with the with the best action, and it wasn't that hard to pick this one because I was just on the edge of my seat throughout the entire book from book to end, and this is probably the most action-packed out of the series, and that is Silver Shadows by Rochelle Mead, which is the 5th book in the Bloodline series. This was probably the best book in the series because there was just so much action in it compared to the rest of the series. I mean, I could have easily picked one of the other Vampire Academy series, but just because since I've already picked, Shadow Kissed, I just thought I would go something different and just go with Silver Shadows because this had the most action-packed in the book out of the series. So the next category is Best Original Soundtrack, and for this I need to pick the best book to movie soundtrack. For this I went a little different because, and I can't really say I'm a music major because I just decided I'm switching majors recently, but I absolutely love music when it comes to films. That's kind of one of the biggest things I go into when I go see a film is like, how's the music, how's the score to the film, how's the soundtrack in the film and whatnot. So for this I picked 2 soundtracks, one for the best score of a book to movie soundtrack, and the soundtrack for best to movie soundtrack. So they weren't really that hard for me to pick because I just loved the score and the soundtrack for this film, for both of these films. So yeah, the best score that I picked for this category is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. I recently watched the movie when I was participating in Harry Christmas to You, and I think this score is by far the best out of the entire film series of Harry Potter. I'm probably nuts for saying that because John Williams, created, he created that theme, and he basically scored the first 3 films, but what Alexander Desplat did for this film, for particularly the last film in the series, it was just amazing. I was always so blown away with some of the theming that he created for the film, especially for some certain scenes, and with Lily's theme especially, I just thought it was an incredible, gorgeous score that was created for the last movie in Harry Potter, and I think Alexander Desplat did this justice, and he's obviously the composer of this film, in case you didn't know, but yeah. And the best soundtrack that I picked for the best book to movie for this category, I recently saw the film and I was just so blown away. Like, after I saw the film, I immediately bought the soundtrack the next day, and I've just been listening to it constantly ever since, and I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for this, but if you listen to that soundtrack, you probably would agree with me. I picked 50 Shades of Grey. Yes, I saw 50 Shades of Grey this past weekend, and I really did like the film, and I really, really loved how the songs in this film was used. It was perfect placement throughout the entire film. I really loved how the songs in this soundtrack in particular were being used, and it was just amazing. I was so blown away of how the music was used in this film, and I actually really did also like the film too. So the next category is Best Director, and for this I have to pick the best new author that I have read. And this was kind of an easy choice for me too because I love the series in general, and she's now one of my favorite authors. I'm certainly going to be reading more soon, and that is Kirsten Gier for the Ruby Red trilogy. Kirsten Gier, I was so blown away by her writing. I loved how this book series was originally published in German and then was translated well in English, and I loved her writing. I loved her creativity and how she created pretty much used the time travel aspects, particularly how she used a girl as a time traveler rather than us seeing so much, men as time travelers. So I just loved how she created this world. I loved her characters in the books. I was so anxious to know when she has another book coming out, and she actually does have a new book coming out soon, and and she's like becoming one of my favorite authors. She's like up there on my top favorite authors now. So the next category is best documentary, and for this I need to pick the best nonfiction / historical fiction. I don't really read that much nonfiction, and I haven't really read that much historical fiction at all. So I'm kind of going back for which I mentioned earlier, and I'm gonna say Ruby Red trilogy again. I don't have the first book with me because I'm letting somebody else borrow the first book real quick, so that's why I'm using Emerald Green right now. So, yeah. It's not really historical fiction, but it does involve time traveling into history, so it's kind of why I'm picking this book, and I didn't really want to say I didn't really have a book for this category, so I just kind of went, you know, a book that involved time traveling to history and whatnot. So it's kind of what I picked there. So that's why I picked the Ruby Red trilogy. But I really did enjoy the series. This is such a mind-blowing trilogy that I've ever read. I thought I was so blown away and mind-blown with the Mortal Instruments series so far, from what I've read. But this is by far the most mind-blowing book series I've ever read. I mean, I didn't mention when I talked about Kirsten Gier earlier, but when she brings some of the most amazing plot twists. When it comes to plot twists, she's amazing. This series is amazing too. So I just think it was another great series to mention also, since I didn't really have any historical or nonfiction book to mention for this category. So yeah. The next category is best short film, and for this I need to pick the best novella. I didn't really read that much novellas. I don't really read much novellas that much. The only novella that I own is a Twilight novella, and I didn't really like it enough to pick it for this category, so I kind of copped out on this one and just went with a book that had a lot of short stories, and I kind of counted it as a novella since it's not really a whole novel. But yeah, and I picked 4 by Veronica Roth. I read this recently, and it was so nice going back into this world, reading a lot of stories from the perspective, reading a lot of parts of the series, parts of the books, and before Divergent and Forced Perspective was amazing. I really did enjoy this book for many, many reasons, just because it's in the perspective of 4, and I do love Veronica Roth and her writing. So it's kind of why I just picked this book. I really did love the short stories that she wrote for 4, and, you know, in perspectives of 4. So yeah, it's mainly why I chose this one. Plus, I love 4. 4 is one of my favorite top male characters too. So yeah. The last and final category for the Bookish Academy Awards book tag is best film, and for this I need to pick the best standalone, and that was Eleanor in Park by Rainbow Rowell. I was having a hard time picking the best standalone because I don't really read that much standalone and recently, but then looking at a lot of the standalones that I've read, I just picked Eleanor in Park because to me this had the most unique ways by this love story, how unique the character was and how unique the characters were, and I just loved how Rainbow Rowell just created such an amazing love story. Alright, so that is it for the Bookish Academy Awards tag, and now I need to tag some people. I am going to be tagging Gina and Denny over at In Cold Lit. I kind of looked through their tags, and I noticed they haven't really done this tag, so that's why I'm going to tag you guys. So I hope you have fun making your video for this, because I'm also going to be tagging Ben from Bangity Bangs. I just discovered his channel recently through Cat from Catty-tastic, and I really do love some of his videos that he's done, and I was going through some of the videos that he made, and I was really, and I didn't notice he hasn't really done this tag too, so that's why I'm going to tag you, Ben. So I think your videos are so cool, and I just hope you do this tag because I certainly had so much fun making my video for this tag, so yeah. So, so I'm tagging Gina and Denny over at In Cold Lit and Ben from Bangity Bangs. So, yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this tag video, And thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great morning, noon, and night. Goodbye!